started on assembling your vintage airplane. So with that assembly file, hopefully on your other screen you have the PDF doc opened up of the exploded view that kind of shows how that airplane goes together. Alright, we have our assembly file opened up, ready to go here. So the first part we're going to want to put in is part A, in the fuselage of the plane. I mean, it's kind of the centerpiece. It's really what everything attaches to, so it kind of makes sense that we drop that in first. And then you just need to navigate to your folder, wherever you're keeping that. And just a single click escape. We only need one of them. And I'm also going to right click and ground that part right away, because I don't want this part to be moving around when I'm going to assemble everything else. It just makes things a lot easier. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of roll this airplane around to match the exploded view on the drawing. Get it close, tap the glass box, and then hit this little drop arrow right next to the glass box and say set this current view as my home, and distance is what we just select. So that way if I rotate the part at all by holding F4, I can press F6 once, and right there, back to our default isometric view that matches the drawing in the paper. So with that, next part is the airplane wing. Let's go ahead and put that in. Alright, click OK or escape, and I only need one of them. And I'm just double checking on that wing. The wide part is on the front edge of the airplane. So if you click on the part and press G, it lets you rotate just that part, and helps you get it just somewhat close to what you want. Kind of like so. And then you can see there's a sketch out on this work plane, but I'm going to go double click that part. You can see my browser switch. I'm going to go in here and just shut the visibility of that off. But what I am going to do is while I'm in here, see if I have a work plane that goes down the middle. And I don't exactly, so I'm going to do that quick, mid-plane. Click those two ends, and that gives me a plane that's right down the center of the wing, and that'll be handy to mate up with a plane that's down the middle of the body. So now I can return back. Same thing here, double click this part. Let's look at the origin of that part. Don't have one here, but actually, with a little thinking ahead, I put one at the end of it, knowing that more than likely we're going to have a lot of things, because a plane is a symmetrical object. It would just come in handy to have a work plane going down the middle. So then I return back to the full assembly, and now that I've done that, I can constrain the top of this notch to the bottom of my wing, apply that, and I'll cancel just to show you that it's stuck down there, and you can see it's still angled, but it's staying down in the pocket that it's supposed to. Constrain the front edge of the wing, the front surface, to this surface here, apply. If I cancel, you'll see the wing can go back and forth, and then that's what this work plane is for. We're going to constrain the two work planes together. And sometimes you use flush instead of mate. Apply, cancel, all locked down. Okay. And that is your wing. Now you can, if you want to shut those work planes off, you double click the parts. You go down in your browser, find which one they are, visibility, return back up, double click the fuselage, on the bottom right click visibility, return back up, and that cleans up the assembly a little bit. F6, default ISO, F4 and hold is your rotate command, and we start to really use the rotate a lot in assembly mode. Okay, next part. Let's go with D. Okay, part D, we get one of those, bring it in, one click, because we only need one of them, escape to cancel, click once on it to highlight it, G to activate the orbit for just that part, rotate it into position, somewhat close, then escape to cancel. We're going to constrain the top of this fuselage to the bottom of the tail, puts those together, apply, and this side of the notch should be against this side of the tail, apply, and this time I need to cancel the command so I can pull this back a little bit. Now I can constrain again and say that that little surface should go against that one right there. Apply, cancel, F6, grab a hold of it, doesn't move at all, looks good. Click off to make sure nothing's selected. And I'm just going to close some of these so I can see that a little bit better. Alright, with that, I think we're actually ready to put in a couple wing struts. So let's place. And our struts are L. So just because we made the parts in a certain order doesn't mean we have to assemble it a certain way. There's L, open. And I'm just going to work on these two, so I'm going to drop on two of them. And because my L is missing my slanted end in this case, we're going to do a little work on the fly here. When you constrain cylindrical objects, use their center lines. So center line of that part L to the center line of the hole. Apply, cancel. See, it sticks through. There you go. And we can slide it around. I'm actually going to slide it down a little bit extra far so I can work on this end. I'm going to see. I've got work planes going right down the middle, so that's good. Right click, visibility. Click on it, new sketch. And we're going to F7. Project the cut edges. Line tool here, and we're going to just go back to that, and we're looking at putting in a dimension of 15 degrees, finish, extrude that, cut both directions just to clear it off, and there we go. So we made our flat spot for the bottom of the wing. Return back. We should be able to constrain now that surface to the bottom of the wing and apply, cancel. You can see that work plane's still on, so I'm just going to go back in there actually quick. Right there I find it where it's on, visibility, shut back off, and return out. And there we go. If you have any kind of issue where that flat angle cut will not constrain to the wing, there's a really good chance that it was not 15 degrees. Either here or the hole that you made going into the body. They have to match, because if it's off at all, it will not constrain together. It'll say something like relationship cannot be defined, or some kind of warning box when you're trying to mate those surfaces together. Good news is when you modify the one part, technically this is just the same part also, we put it in twice. So I'm going to constrain one more time because this is probably how yours came in, which is great. Center line of this part to the center line of the hole, not just that dot, the whole center line. And I just zoom out a little bit to make sure, yep, this lands down there. Apply, and then also mate again, bottom of the wing to that flat surface, apply, cancel. So that's how those struts go in. And the reason I'm not doing the other two, you could place two more and constrain them all out. Some people have used that work plane on the middle and mirrored things across. It's up to you. But after the two wing struts are in, we can put in one of those shock absorbers, which is part E. So place and drop this in right there, escape. Click on it one time, G on the keyboard, rotate it around. So looking at it this way. And this is what you have to pay attention to. When I'm rolling this back and forth is because which way does the extrude sweep go through here? And of course it goes through, this is made to be for the struts on the other side. So this looks like a good time to mirror. I'm going to go back into my body quick. I know I have this work plane at the end, visibility, return back up. We're going to go, right here's the mirror tool. It says what are the components, so I click my two struts. You see the two parts show up, and I click the button for mirror plane, and I choose the mirror in the center, and next, and click OK. What just that little box will say, hey, we're going to create some parts for you. They'll be called MIR for mirror, and you have them on the other side. So now I can bring this shock absorber over, and the main thing I want to constrain by is the center line of this strut, and I'm pretty sure we want to be in the front one, yep. So the center line of that strut and the center line of that cut sweep we did. Apply, cancel. And you'll see, look at our strut's not in position anymore, so we better throw some constraints on that. Apply, and then mate that surface to the bottom of the wing. Oops, I missed, so just cancel. Constraint, that angled surface, bottom of the wing, apply, cancel, and just click off, there we go. Slide that along. I can go back into my fuselage, turn that work plane off for visibility, return back up to the assembly. And now on the shock absorber, we got a couple of constraints that they're on to kind of hold this in position. So the first one we're going to do is try to just keep it vertical. So I'm going to constrain. I'm going to do an angle constraint actually. It's a trick to do parallel. I'm going to click the top of the shock absorber, top of the wing, and say 0 degrees. And sometimes you just got to click one of these other solutions to get it to move a little bit and snap into that 0 degrees. Apply, cancel. So now when I rotate this, you can see it's parallel to that top. And then really, your next constraint is a tangent constraint. That's the side of the body and the arced part of the shock absorber with an offset. And I wish I had my dimensions in front of me. You're going to have to check the paper. I'm trying to recall from memory. It seems like it was 1.5, might have been 2. Double check and then apply, cancel. And that should lock that down. Okay. From here on out, you have a little part on the bottom of the shock absorber, a little peg that goes in there, and then the wheels. You're just mating center lines, a lot of them, or turning on work planes to make sure that cylindrical objects stay where you want. In the front of the airplane, you got a propeller you put on, center line, mate surfaces, really just more really of what you've just seen already. Okay, So good luck. Talk to me with any further questions you have. But this is just a quick video to hopefully get you started and get some ideas on how to put these things together.